Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Last time we were here, I introduced a way for everyone to work with, well, sprites in SplashKit. Today we're gonna look at the same thing, but we're gonna expand upon that. Before we have sprite moving around, do different sort of animation based on the user input. Today we are going to do the exact same thing, but we're gonna pass in a new sprite, and then also a way to actually work out collision. The main task today is basically working out collision. In terms of adding a new sprite, I've already went ahead and did that already. I have decided to place, this is from the old sprite, this is the new one. I've added everything into one huge header file, and then this is basically the code for the new player file. I mean, as .cpp file, I've called it player.cpp, player2.cpp. This is basically just pretty much the same thing as we looked at in the last video. Exactly the same thing, same concept. I've also went ahead and added a background as well, because I didn't want it to be just black. I added a draw background wood function, which basically just bitmap, equal load bitmap, and then draw the bitmap at a certain location. So now let's take a look at where we're currently at in our progress. If I set to move here, press J, there's something, it does work, and then the other, that works as well. Yeah, so it's working great. It's working already. Everything's looking just fine. Only problem is it's not actually doing anything, as you can see here. It's not actually attacking. There's no damage being taken. Let's fix that. As you can see, I've already added something called player health. So both player 1 and player 2, those are both integer that we're going to be looking at. So now, what is the function for actually working on collision? SplashKit does actually come with a function like that, and it's a bool. So now let's create a new boolean. We're gonna call this bool player collision, and then we would want to pass in both player. This is why it's better to actually have both of the player inside, like the struct inside one header file, so we can access both of them at the same time from one header file. We just call this player 1 data bool, and then all different player 2. Okay, there you go. Simple as that. We're gonna get a new bool called this result. And then result is going to be equal to one of the SplashKit actual function. It's called Sprite collision. And after that, it's just a matter of passing in the actual sprite. And since we are using sprite pointer and player 2 dot sprite pointer, turn result. There you go. Perfect. That's beautiful. And remember, don't forget to add this into the header file as well. Okay, there we go. Looking great. So now, how do we actually work on the bool itself? Let's go back to our player 1. Let's start from player 1, shall we? So in draw which, I'm gonna create a new bool. We'll call this damage, or take damage, and then takes damage equal to player collision. And before passing anything in, as you can see here in the parameter, we've only passed in the which draw, the first player. We would also want to pass in the second player data as well. Otherwise, we are going to be lacking some. There you go. Perfect. Beautiful. Now you just want to pass both of them in. So the first one would be which draw, and then here's the damage. Oops. And here, instead of passing in which draw dot sprite pointer, you actually want to pass in everything, the entire which draw. There you go. Now we have that. That's working. Let's actually get started on the actual bowl. We have else if sprite animation name, which draw sprite pointer equal to attack. And here's what you want to think about your condition. And my idea is I only want the player 2 to actually take damage when it's in its idle state, when it's not moving. So I'm gonna say, well, the first sprite pointer for player 1 is equal to attack. Well, basically means if it's doing an attack. And if the other sprite, and this is damage was, sorry, dot sprite pointer 2 is equal to idle. Basically mean if this is attacking, if this is idle, something's gonna happen. Now let's do what is going to happen exactly. And then we're gonna just say if both of them is equal to that, and then if our take damage is true, and this will only be true if the pixel are colliding with each other. If that is true, we want the with damage dot sprite pointer 2 to be equal to with damage dot this is basically the sprite for taking damage. So if I could just find it and show it to you real quick. This should be it, if I'm correct. Right, that is the one just now that I've shown you. This is basically it taking damage. Just a small little animation thing for it to play whenever it takes damage. And once say sprite start animation with damage dot sprite pointer, and then this is basically the identifier for from our animation script. If I could just find that and show it to you, this would be it. Yep. Mine does have a left at the end. Since this for player 2 it's facing left by default, so we would want that left at the end. Another thing is, as you can see, I've also added the player struct, and we would also want them to, the health to be deducted whenever the collision is happening. So I'm just gonna give this 250 because I want them to decrease 25 at a time. So what else we're gonna add here is with damage dot player 2 health equal to with damage dot player 2 health minus 25. And then I just want to let the player know player 2 health to string player 2 health. Just like beautiful. That should work now. Okay. Another thing is that we want to do is reset the actual bowl for it to go back to false. Just like for it to continue checking if there's any more damage being taken. Otherwise, it's going to be stuck on that one animation and it won't stop. One thing I've discovered in my time working on this is the fact that if you have an else if here, when this actually plays, it's actually not going to return from being stuck. So what you can do is just remove this else if into an if its own if statement for the idle, and it should fix that problem. But we're not done yet for the first player attacking the second player, because as you know, we have to make sure every condition or every scenario is met, and the problem here is um, our second player can be facing both left and right. So we also want to make a case when it's facing the other way. So this would be an sprite start anim. Oh, sorry. Sprite animation name is equal to with idle left. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think I have it opposites, so this makes sense. All right. If take damage again equal to true, why is it screaming at me? Let's start animation. Oh, sorry. That should fix it. There you go. Beautiful. Now, again, we have pretty much the same thing here. It's just that we're going to be replacing the animation that's being played. There you go. That should be it. Beautiful. Now let's go ahead and test out to see if it actually works. Oh, what's this? I messed up somewhere. Statement has no effects on used variables. Oh, right. I think I know the issue here. Again, remember to also fixes your header file when you're actually past changing the parameter. So this should be instead that. And then also in our main program, remember to also pass in parameter as well, otherwise it won't be matching the argument needed. There you go, finally compiles properly. Let's try running the game, see if it actually works. Okay, there you go. As you can see, there's a bit of an animation issue, but it is working. The player health did get deducted. It did start at 225 and it got hit twice, so that did work beautifully. The issue that we were having here would probably just be on the sprite X and Y position. Simple fix, I can just fix that right here. Sprite set X result dot. There you go. I've already updated the other one, so let's recompile this. Hopefully it should be working the way I intended it to. There you go. Beautiful. Now let's see a case where it's actually facing the other way. There. Everything works fine. It's great. Okay. Now, we've done that for player 1, but we also want player 2 to get a fighting chance. So let's actually do the same thing for player 2 as well. Another thing I noticed about my program is that for player 2, I have two different script for left and right. But here, instead of actually having two different script for my player 1, I was just reusing the same script, which worked perfectly fine. But if I were to do that, I would have to also be checking to pass in the new ball as well into my player 2. And since I don't want to go through the trouble of that, simple fix, you just pass in a new ball for it to check left and right as well. But that's an extra condition for me in my, well, the bull in the if statement. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a new text file. Basically, I'll create a new script for that, and this should work either way. Okay, so if anyone else have forgotten how to actually create a new script, this is basically what we're going to be doing for it. Simple. First, you're going to want a new animation script, and then you're actually going to need the animation itself. I don't need to use Sprite, and of course, not new drawing options. Sorry if my voice sounds a bit off. I'm feeling a bit under the weather. There you go. As simple as that, and then just gonna reconfigure some stuff over here. We're gonna first need a result.idle left script equal load animation script. Let's just call this idle left script idle. Oops. Idle left.txt. Create animation result. Last thing is the drawing options. Okay, so now if it's facing left, I would want you to use the left one. That's it. Simple. Okay, back to our player 2 file. Let's start working on this, shall we? Of course, we're obviously just going to be following the same thing. We're gonna pass in a ball. We don't have to declare a new function. You can just use the one that we already built. And remember, we're also going to need the player 1 here as well. Player 1 data, and you can call this whatever you want. I'll just call this which damage. And then here I need a new ball. Damage taken equal to player collision. Again, you want to pass in the exact same thing, but remember you want to pass them in the same order as the first one, because even though here I passed in player 2 first in my white draw wizard, but since our player collision, we have the player 1 data first. It has to follow in that order as well. Now else if Sprite no, sorry, Sprite animation name Let's draw dot sprite pointer 2 is equal to this attack and sprite animation name, which damage dot sprite pointer is equal to idle if damage taken equal to true, which damage dot sprite pointer I want this to be equal to which damage dot which take damage. There you go. And then sprite start animation, which damage dot sprite pointer, and then this is just the animation identifier. If anyone's wondering where this is coming from, that's basically your identifier from your animation script. As you can see right here. That's what all this is equal to. That's what it's actually checking. So make sure you get that right, or use like an identifier that you can easily call upon. Minus 25, and then I just want to be doing the exact same thing here. Player 1 health plus toString and then again damage taken equal false. We're gonna need another one of these right down here, but of course we do have to change some stuff up just for the left. This is the same. I'll use the same script actually. I don't left. I think this should be it. Of course, don't forget to update your header file. Otherwise, we're gonna run into the same problem as earlier. And also pass player 1 in here. And this if key type escape key right here is basically for basically if they press escape key, the program's just gonna end. Oops. Oh, what is this? Something's wrong with our header file. Right, there you go. That's why everything was just having a major problem. Okay. Oh, this works. There you go. Perfect. Beautiful. Now, let's just... Oh. Okay, it is working, but I do have a problem. All idle left invalid animation data. Right. I think it can might know where the problem is for this one. So remember earlier when we were actually fixing up the idle animation, since my sprite I was still using the old one, I do need to update that as well. There, idle left. This is the problem. This should basically fixes it. It's just saying it can't find the identifier called idle left. There you go. Inside the idle script because it's not even an option with that. So now it's working properly. Making sure if I do damage this, see if they're both damaged each other at the same time. It's only a split second where this one is faster, but beside that, nothing else happened. And player 1 can also damage player 2, and vice versa. And there's a range, isn't there? I mean, like the further out I am. But yeah, that's basically how to work with collision inside SplashKit. I hope this video can help anyone working on some sort of 2D fighting game. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.